Hey everybody, this is Darren Sabater again, Bay Area News Group, Mercury News, East Bay Times, here with Mike Lefkow. Mike, we are going into our 13th weekend of high school football this week. Do you have energy to get us to the finish line?
Oh, certainly. Actually, this is probably the best time of year. You get some interesting games.
No doubt, no doubt. Although what we wrote about just the other day, well, not the other day, it was yesterday. We kind of compared the North Coast section and Central Coast section brackets, and didn't turn out so well for the NCS if you're in if you're into competitive games, close games, and what did you think when you saw the numbers? Because we saw it, we could see it anecdotally, but when it's there on paper and staring you right in the face. That the NCS had 27 games and the point differential was 850 for an average of, what was the average, like 31 a game?
I think 31 a game, yeah.
And what were your thoughts?
Well, it didn't surprise me because I've been saying all along the way they do it creates too many blowouts. I mean, it's one thing if you have a natural blowout. Like I never would have thought that Foothill would beat San Leandro 39-13, which didn't quite come up to the average blowout, but still.
That helped the average.
Yeah, it was a healthy.
That was a close game.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is I said, okay, those type of games happen. But I mean, let them happen for natural causes, not, I mean, Foothill just played a very good game. San Leandro had a bad night. You got a 26-point difference. But don't set up games that you know are going to be 50-point blowouts before you even go out for the coin flip.
Right. I mean, the NCS is going to have to, if they want to get away from that, they're going to have to get a point system. I mean, they could follow Cal Preps, which you did because the NCS doesn't have a point system. You just rank the teams according to the latest Cal Preps computer rankings, which is the CCS uses Cal Preps, but doesn't use it, as we noted in this story, exclusively. They have their own point system based on wins against, strength of schedule and whatnot. So the NCS would have to come up with a point system and would have to get away from the thinking that the carrot at the end is the end all be all, which is going to be hard to convince some coaches. The CCS was able to do it. I mean, you look at a team like Los Gatos, they're done for the season. You look at a team like Aptos, they're done for the season. But they were in the top division of CCS. They were among the top 8 teams at CCS. And, as Mark Crail, the Los Gatos coach, said, was obviously very disappointed after the way their game against Bellarmine ended with the pick 6. But as he pointed out, it's playoff time. In games like this, somebody's going to have to go home. And that's just the way it is. It shouldn't be set up where teams know they're going to win before they even hit the practice field.
I'm sorry. The NCS could do this very easily if it wanted. It's not that hard. I mean, I just did it in a half hour on Sunday night and was just playing around. But if you really wanted to, you have a couple criteria. One, you get a certain number of points for winning your league. 2, you get a certain number of points for beating a team that's ranked in the top 100. Maybe another point for beating a team in the top 150. Which I think CCS does. Right. I mean, this is not brain surgery. This is something that you could figure out. Okay, maybe you make arrangements with Cal Preps to do their computer rankings after all the games are done on Saturday.
They do.
And then you get up early.
They're updated on Sunday morning. They're updated at midnight that night.
Okay, then you get up early on Sunday morning and you.
This is what the CCS does. They get up
and you get it. You get it done. This is, like I say, this is simple math.
Right. But even as it's become perfectly clear since we posted the story that not everyone's happy with the CCS system either. It's not a perfect system. Nobody ever said it was a perfect system. It's a better system than it was because you got competitive brackets, and that's the key. I don't care, you got, this small school that's being put up against quote unquote big schools. Well, you know what? They're competitive. They're Aptos was in the top 100 in Cal Preps' computer rankings, and they showed why. I mean, they had already gone to Campolindo and won 49-0, and then they're in the fourth quarter at St. Francis, tied 28-28.
Right. Well, look, back when I played high school football, when you had leather helmets and no face guards, okay, that was based strictly on enrollment. You didn't have
But I
the
think you and
number
I
of private schools you do now. You did not have all the open enrollment you do now. And so, yes, it was very enrollment based, but
it
now
was
it's
enrollment based because they were neighborhood teams, and a
right.
lot of schools back then had coaching staffs that were around for a long time.
Oh yeah,
because they were teachers at the school. They were PE teachers
right.
or taught other classes, and they were there for the long haul. Now you've got a lot of people who were former coaches, or a lot of these coaches are part-timers or walk-ons, and you just don't have the same programs at some of the schools that have large enrollments that you did 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago.
I still can't conceive. I mean, even when I talk to my old teammates now, we can't conceive of not having played for our neighborhood school. We were not going to go over to the school next door. Right. I mean, we played for our neighborhood school, and the coaching staff was all there for years, and they were all full-time teachers, and it's a totally different atmosphere. That's why I think you got to get away from the enrollment-based setups that the North Coast section has. Do it the modern way.
They still have the fact that De La Salle hasn't lost to a section team over the last 30 years, and they've set up a bracket to make it possible for a team that loses to De La Salle, assuming that happens, which in this case would be Pittsburgh on a Friday night, would still get to move down in the bracket. I thought that bracket was pretty clever, and probably could have been done a long time ago. I know it didn't need to be done a few years ago because of the system that the CIF had in place, in which section runners up could move on to state regional games. That's no longer the case, so the NCS had to get a little clever. But even in the NCS's former system, I mean, you still had that Division I bracket where nobody went on, even the champion,
right?
Which I thought was pretty sad. But now they've got it set up where it's that 8-team open/Division I bracket. So this Friday's game between De La Salle and Pittsburgh at De La Salle is for the Open Division Championship. And if the loser, if it's Pittsburgh or De La Salle, will host the Division I championship game the following weekend against California or Clayton Valley, which will play in a semifinal game that you're going to cover on Friday night in Concord. So,
and I applaud the NCS for doing that. I mean, that was something that you wish it wouldn't have to be done, but the fact that it is done is good. And hey, hats off to the NCS for doing that. Now let's just straighten out the rest of the playoff.
Right. And like I said, the NCS clearly has some work to do with the way it does its football playoffs, because football playoffs are not the same as they were 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
That's the whole thing. These are not neighborhood teams anymore. That's what they've got to understand.
It's completely different. You can't have a small school power like a Marine Catholic playing. Was it Mount Diablo?
Yeah, played Mount, and the Mount Diablo coach was very gracious about it, and he talked about how it was going to be a good experience for their team, and this is another stepping stone towards building a program there. But I mean, still, I don't know.
You were adamant about that game the minute that the brackets came out. You were adamant even before then that Marine Catholic and was a Division IV team. I mean, we had De La Salle playing James Logan in the first round. I mean, we knew how that game was going to unfold before they even hit, like we said, before they even hit the practice field that week. So,
right, James Logan deserved to be in the playoffs, and James Logan deserved to be probably a Division II or Division III type team this year. But then again, somebody had to play De La Salle too. So who do you put against De La Salle in the first round?
Well, your bracket was pretty interesting that we included in our Monday morning night.
Yeah.
That would have been Marine Catholic.
And it was not something that I was trying to do something against Marin Catholic. I mean, that's just the way everything
But you
landed.
could still set up. You could still set up that top division if you were to get an extra spot into the state playoffs for
Right.
the CIF just continues to add divisions, so I don't know why it would be an issue. You could still make that top bracket with De La Salle the way it is now, and give everybody a shot, except the two teams that are playing De La Salle and the number 2 seed, I guess. So that would have been what, 7 and 8. So your bracket would have had to have been adjusted. But anyhow, we got some picks to do. Were you happy with the CCS playoffs, or do you think because there are some teams in there that are under 500, which I know that raised a lot of eyebrows, and some teams that had winning records that were left out. But they do an A, B, and C division. I still think the A divisions get too many automatic qualifiers. I think that should be reduced from 4 to 3.
I agree.
And then open up more at-large spots and let the chips fall where they may. I don't think teams that play, the upper division, the A League schedules, I don't think they necessarily need to be penalized. But, B League teams, they're right on the bubble sometimes.
Right.
And especially when, you have a case where is in the El Camino division of the Santa Clara Valley Athletic League, where you had a 3-way tie for first, and you only had 2 automatic spots. And unfortunately, Gunn was the one left out, 8-2. I looked at Gunn's schedule. I think I saw 3 wins over C League teams in non-league, and a loss to a B League team in Monterey. I'm wondering, I haven't added their points. I'm wondering how their points would have played out if they had scheduled 3 B League teams and a C League team.
Or do this. Schedule 2 B League teams and a C League team.
Right.
Like the ABC scheduling they have in college. Now, before you did ask if I was happy with the CCS playoffs. And yeah, I like the format. The one problem I've had, and I've said this to you many times, 3 and 7 teams do not belong in the playoffs.
Right. And that 3 and 17 might end up winning a section title. They were a good team. I mean, they beat Bellarmine. We're talking about Sacred Heart Cathedral. They do have a win over Bellarmine, and they took they were in the game against St. Francis in the 4th quarter, and it took a Jackson Berman to Jurion Dickey, one of the plays of the year, for Valley Christian to beat Sacred Heart Cathedral. So I mean, they had some crazy games against really good teams.
I saw the one Twitter comment, somebody saying, well, Sacred Heart Cathedral is a talented team and all this. Well, that's fine. They were a talented team, but they were still 3 and 7 during the season. They lost. What's that?
3 and 7.
Yeah, they lost more than twice as many games as they won. And I'm 3 and 17. I mean, if you get 30% on a test in one of the classrooms you're at Sacred Heart Cathedral, they're not going to say, no problem. You're going to get an F. And I'm not saying football and math are comparable, or football and English, or what have you. But I mean, if you win 30% of your games, you had a bad year, and you do not deserve to go on to the postseason. And if they were talented, as this guy on Twitter said, they should have been better than 3 and 7.
There you go. Let's get to the picks. I juggled it a little bit as far as the order that we're going to discuss to make sure that Pittsburgh and De La Salle are near the bottom, and same with the Division 1 games in CCS. So we're going to start with Division 3 NCS. Benicia, Las Lomas, rematch of a game that was played a couple weeks ago. In fact, I think it was the regular season finale, which Lomas won at Benicia. They're both 8-3. That Las Lomas win created a 3-way tie for first place in the Diablo Athletic League Foothill Division, but Las Lomas, I guess, won the draw.
They had a preseason drawing to see who would be the tiebreaker.
Evan, our dear friend, who's been covering the Warriors now for going on 2 months, he's still following it. He's no longer in the lead. We had a 6-game reversal. He lost. He had a 3-game lead on me going into last weekend, and now he's got a 3-game deficit. And I think you're still 10 back. Sorry. So I'm leading this thing by 3. Webeck's taking Benicia. I'm taking Las Lomas. Who you got?
I'm taking Las Lomas.
You're taking Las Lomas. Okay. Next game on the list, El Cerrito, which had a big win last week against Acalanes. Huge comeback, 8-2 on the year, going up against Windsor. So they're going to travel to play Paul Cronin's team. Paul Cronin's the former coach at Cardinal Newman. He did great things there. Now he's at Windsor. Windsor's 9-1 on the year. Cal Preps is predicting Windsor to win 31-17. Oh, and by the way, Cal Preps is predicting Las Lomas to win 31-26. Evan's taking Windsor. I'm taking Windsor. Who you got?
Yeah, I've got Windsor penciled in to win.
You got Windsor penciled in. All right. Next one on the list, Division II NCS. Foothill with Nick Walsh at quarterback, 9-2, coming off the win over San Leandro. They're going to Rancho Cotati. Rancho's only loss was 42-41 to Acalanes, which really got out of the gate quickly, right? They were playing really well early on, Acalanes. So
yeah, they stumbled a little bit along the way against some of the tougher teams.
right.
They didn't lose to a bad team, but they had a fairly tough schedule and lost a couple of them, close games too.
Okay, so Rancho and Foothill. I'm taking Rancho close. Evan's taking Rancho. Who you taking?
I'm taking Rancho also. Games up there.
Okay. Game 4 on the list, Division II semifinal, Campo Lindo going to San Ramon Valley. I'm sure Kevin Macy's thrilled about this. He is an enrollment guy, right? I mean,
yes, very much so. Yeah, he prefers the enrollment. I mean, I don't know if he prefers it all the way. I think he feels that sometimes his team is put in a much higher category than it should, higher division than it should be.
He's probably looking at San Ramon Valley as being the biggest school in the state right now, right? Maybe.
Well, I'm sure he's not happy about that matchup. I think he would have preferred something a little less than San Ramon Valley.
Both teams are 8-3. Cal Preps is predicting San Ramon Valley to blow them out 35-8. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, or at least 35-8. I'm taking San Ramon. Evan's taking San Ramon. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I'm taking SRV, but Campo is considerably improved since their start. They're more physical and they're running the ball more.
All right, next one on the list, and this is a game that you're going to be at. You're going to be in Concord on Friday night to see Clayton Valley play California. The winner gets the loser of the Pittsburgh De La Salle game next week for the NCS Division I championship. This is a rematch game that was played in October that Clayton won 19-18. I know Clayton has been licking its chops for this game. I'm sure California wants to show that its win was no fluke. I'm taking Clayton to win. Cal Preps is taking Clayton to win 31-28. Evan's taking California. Who are you taking?
I'm going to take Clayton Valley, but this was a coin flip game for me.
It was a total coin flip. I mean, California coming off a huge win at Monta Vista last week. Looked really impressive.
Yeah, you got two very good coaches.
Eddie Boris at quarterback for one side, Brendan Bush for the other side. Should be a great game.
Yeah, oh yeah, and like I say, you got two very good coaches as well. So this is going to be a very good game.
Okay, we're going to go next to CCS Division 5, North Salinas going to Aragon. North Salinas is 7-3, Aragon is 7-4. Cal Preps is predicting Aragon to win 34-28. I'm taking Aragon on its home field in San Mateo. Evan's taking Aragon. Who are you taking?
Yep, I'm going to make it unanimous. Aragon.
We're all going Aragon. The other Division 5 CCS semifinal game, St. Francis of Watsonville at 8-3, going to Los Altos 8-3. Cal Preps predicts St. Francis of Watsonville to win 26-21. I'm taking the road team in this one, St. Francis of Watsonville. Evan's taking Los Altos. Who are you taking?
I'm going to go with Los Altos.
Okay. All right. Next one on the list, our friend Steve Pappin, former MA/independent/Gunderson coach, is now taken Santa Teresa to the semifinals of the CCS Division 4 playoffs. They had a heck of a game last week, right? Dramatic 45-42 triple overtime win.
Right. That was a great game.
Happens teams have played some incredible playoff games through the years. Tough losses, some good wins. That was a good win. They're at Homestead. Homestead at 6-5. Cal Prep's taking Homestead to win 28-19. Evans taking Homestead. I'm going to go with the Saints. I'm taking Santa Teresa to keep it rolling. Who are you taking?
I'm going to take Homestead. I think Homestead is a little bit inconsistent, but when they've got it together, they're a pretty good team.
When they're not, they're not.
That's the thing. They're inconsistent, but when they're good, they're good.
Okay. Next one. Another CCS. Sacred Heart Prep Hillsdale. That's division. What division is that? Division 4?
Division 4, I think.
That's Division 4, semifinal. Hillsdale beat Sacred Heart Prep 20-13 in September. Hillsdale's 3-2 against Sacred Heart Prep since 2016. Cal Prep's taken Sacred Heart Prep 28-22. Evans taking Hillsdale. I'm taking Hillsdale. Who you got?
We're all going to go against Cal Preps. I'm taking Hillsdale also.
Holy cow. All right. CCS Division 3, Leland. We all like Leland. Well, I mean, we've liked them before this weekend. We'll see who you're picking. Playing Christopher. Christopher out of Gilroy, 6-5. They'll be on the road at Leland. I'm taking Leland. Evans taking Leland. Cal Preps is taking Leland, 19-14. Who you got?
It's Leland.
Geez, clean sweep. Here's your favorite team in the playoffs. Sacred Heart Cathedral at 4-7. Be at home. Well, sort of at home. Kezar Stadium is its home field. Former home of who, Lefty? Kezar Stadium?
The 49ers.
Yes, former home of the 49ers. They will be going up against Jackson Steffen, and he had a heck of a game. The quarterback, defensive back, he had a couple of interceptions. He had a big day last week against Live Oak, correct?
Yes, I think it was.
He's up for Athlete of the Week. I'm taking Sacred Heart. Evans taking Sacred Heart. Cal Preps is taking Sacred Heart 31-21. Who you taking?
I'm going to pick Mountain View to pull the upset.
There you go. Division 2. This was a tough one for me to pick. Menlo School, 10-0 at San Benito, 9-1. San Benito's only loss was 17-14 to Salinas. We all know what Sergio Beltran's doing. We all know that we kind of, last week you picked Half Moon Bay, I picked Half Moon Bay, and we have egg on our face today. San Benito's favored by 3 according to Cal Preps, 27-24. Evans taking Menlo. I'm taking Menlo. Who are you taking?
I'm going to take San Benito. I just
don't believe.
Well, no, if the game was at Menlo, I would take Menlo. This is one of those where I picked the home team.
This is going to be Friday Night Lights at its best. Down in Hollister, where the whole town's going to be there. It's going to be energized.
Oh, it will be energized. And Menlo is a really good team. And, the coach has done a great job this year. And Beltran's a good quarterback. And I think as long as, what's his name, Todd Smith, I think as long as he's at Menlo, they're going to be a factor. But I think
we have Austin Carter Samuels.
A little bit. What's that?
Austin Carter Samuels is tutoring.
That's yeah. I mean, I think they're well coached. They got a great quarterback, but San Benito is going to burst the bubble, I think.
Oh, well, we'll see. Only a few more games left on our list. St. Ignatius at 5-6 at Wilcox, Division 2 semifinal. Cal Preps favors Wilcox 24-21. I'm taking Wilcox. This is going to be close, really close. Evans taking SI. Who you taking?
I'm picking Wilcox.
You're taking Wilcox?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Wilcox gets them.
Should be a good game. Now we're into the CCS Division 1. Friday night, Menlo Atherton 9-2 at St. Francis 10-0. St. Francis last week was in a tight one in the fourth quarter. Menlo Atherton went down to Salinas and got the big win. As you'll read in the Mercury News and the East Bay Times website later in the week, there's a big connection between Menlo Atherton and St. Francis. Stars on both teams were teammates on the Menlo Atherton Vikings Pop Warner team that went to the Pop Warner Super Bowl. Did you know there was a Pop Warner Super Bowl?
I had no idea until you told me the other day.
It's in Florida, from what I hear. It's
Okay.
in Florida.
Do they
But
still
anyhow,
have it, or is it something that's no longer?
well, I don't know if it's happening during COVID, but probably I
Well,
would
I
think.
mean, if in normal times.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Oh, in
so.
Florida, they don't
I
close.
mean, we're talking like Matt McLeod. We're talking Viliami Juju Teo. I mean, stars from both teams were on this team. And now they're going to be going up against each other. I'm taking St. Francis. I think St. Francis in the trenches better than MA, but we'll see. Evan's taking St. Francis. Cal Preps is taking St. Francis by 21. I found that was one of Cal Preps' eye openers this week. That computer, I don't know, has St. Francis winning 42-21. Who do you got?
I have St. Francis winning. I think that score's too low. I think there's going to be more than 63 points on the
Well,
over-under.
you think St. Francis is going to blow them out?
No, I don't think St. Francis will blow them out. I think they're both going to score a lot of points.
I thought 21 was
Nice
pretty
to
high.
see a basketball score in that game. What's that?
I thought 21, that's too big of a spread.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a. I could see it happening. I could see St. Francis doing what it did to Aptos. Yeah, but I mean, I think 56-28 is a little bit closer than 42-21 to me. I mean, I think it'll be a high scoring game.
Two more games on the list. Bellarmine off the dramatic win last week where Thomas DiVittorio, 94-yard pick six to beat Los Gatos in the final minute. Bell's 8-3, going to Sarah 9-1. Bellarmine lost soundly at Sarah in early October, but that was a sad day in the history of Sarah football as the missile went down with a season-ending knee injury. And Sarah is still trying to find its way after losing Hassan. I think Sarah will win this game. I think it's going to be much closer than the last time. But I still think the Padres will pull it out. Evan's taking Sarah. Cal Preps is taking Sarah by 13. Who you got?
I'm going to take Sarah, but I think it's going to be a close game.
I think it's going to be really close. And if Sarah makes the mistakes it did last week, they turned the ball over 5 times and still won.
Yeah, they're not going to get away with 5 turnovers.
If they turn the ball over 5 times against Bellarmine,
Bell's win if that happens.
I don't think they're winning.
Right.
But I think Sarah, given that it turned the ball over 5 times last week, will get that corrected.
I mean, you do 5 turnovers. That's probably half your possessions during the course of high school.
It was crazy. And they still won 41-30. So yeah. Last game on the list, game that you're familiar with, or a matchup that you're familiar with. I don't know, game. Open Division Championship, NCS. Pittsburgh 8-1 at De La Salle 9-2. Their 10th section final since the 91 game that we've talked about for many, many years. The Pittsburgh victory at the Oakland Coliseum. Pittsburgh is 0-31 against De La Salle since that game. Pittsburgh's loaded with talent this time. I mean, 4 stars, 3 stars. They've got talent. The quarterback, the receivers. Cal Preps is not a believer in Pittsburgh. The computer has Pittsburgh losing 44-14, but I think that has a lot to do with the way Pittsburgh's schedule unfolded because they weren't able to play Sarah because of the poor air quality. They weren't able to play McClymonds because of the coronavirus issues at McClymonds. So they lost 2 games on the schedule. And then when they did play Folsom, it was Pittsburgh's first game and Folsom's 3rd game. And even though Pittsburgh played well for a while, they ended up losing that game. All that said, I'm taking De La Salle. Evan's taking De La Salle. I don't think it's going to be 44-14, but I do see De La Salle winning and moving on to state, and Pittsburgh going back to Pirate Stadium and getting ready for California or Clayton Valley. What do you think?
I'm taking De La Salle.
And when you hear, Pittsburgh's a good program.
A very good program.
historic program. And when you hear 31 consecutive losses, that's eye-opening.
Well, it's symptomatic to what's happened in North Coast section, at least with De La Salle, is that there's just been nobody who could beat him. I mean, I still think eventually somebody's going to beat him. And I think Clayton Valley tied him. But I think that's the last time De La Salle hasn't beaten an NCS team. And I mean, Pittsburgh could do it on Friday night. Who knows? But I don't think they will.
Yeah, I think we don't know. And I mentioned it in the preview that's running on Wednesday on the Mercury News website, East Bay Times website, that we still don't know. We still don't know what Pittsburgh is at this point. I mean, we think they're really good, but we're waiting for, this is going to be a test. And if they do fall into the bracket next week, that'll be a big test and will show us a little bit more. But it's a bummer that they didn't get the Sarah game, because the Sarah game would have set up the Folsom game. They would have played Sarah, and then they would have gone in to play Folsom.
But I think we're finding out a little bit what Pittsburgh is. I was very impressed with their victories over Antioch and Amador Valley, even though neither one of those teams is close to being De La Salle. And there was no fooling around. Pittsburgh.
You're right, and they do have 2 non-league wins that are impressive. They beat Valley Christian, and they went on the road and won at Wilcox. But
you look at what they're doing right now, and Antioch is the kind of game that anything could happen. And I thought the Amador game, I didn't figure Amador would score more than 7 points, but I didn't think they'd give up 68.
Right.
I thought 34-7 might have been a little bit more what I would have thought it would have been.
Yep. I think we're going to wrap this up. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I mean, I think we'll get a few closer games in the NCS playoffs this weekend. But
we hope so. We hope so. Be sure to check out our coverage, mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com. Sign up for a digital subscription. That helps us keep going. A lot of you have signed up, and we're very grateful for that. So please check us out. We continue to have coverage every single day, Lefty. Somehow, some way.
There you go. Good.
Somehow, some way. We lose a starter. We just have to keep going, right?
We do. Like a football team. Next guy up.
Next guy up. All right. We'll call it a wrap here.